All right, it is Friday. This is the final website that I'm going to share with you for this week. Next week, I will have a whole different set to share with you. So, to end this week, I have a classroom management tool, and it is a website that you can go to called Classroom Screen. So, if you Google Classroom Screen, it's going to be probably the first result that you're going to get. And when I click on Classroom Screen, this is what you're going to see. Now, the background does change every time you log in. Now, if you don't like that background, let's say you're feeling in a specific mood for that day, you can go down here to the bottom and change the background with this background widget. All right, so you can take a look at some of these that pop up. There's more along the side, but it's Friday, so maybe you're feeling a little squirrely to get out of school. Or maybe that's how your students are looking about right now, or probably more likely how you're feeling. All right, I'm with you there. Okay, so basically, what you would do with Classroom Screen, this is something you could put up on your active board. So let's say you are working in groups and you want to put some information up on your board for students to use. So let's look at some of these widgets across the bottom. So the random name generator, this is where you can call on students randomly. So I'm just going to pop in a couple names of students. Let's see. Um, there we go. So I have, let's say, 5 students in my class, and I want to randomly call on a student. When I hit choose, there's the person I'm going to call on. And then if I hit it again, it's going to pick somebody new. So that's the random name generator. You can also use the dice. So maybe you want to call on students based on the number that they have at their seat. So that's the random name generator. When you click the X, it will take it off your screen. All right, let's say you are working in groups and you want to keep track of the sound level. Well, first of all, I need to OK my laptop to use my microphone, so I will allow it. Now, right now, you can see that I am very close to my laptop, and the sensitivity is right at a 3, so I'm going to turn that down a little bit. Maybe I'm going to keep it here around a 2. So if this was up on the board, once my students get past that 3, maybe we need to have a little talk about keeping voices down. All right, so that is the sound level that you can use. Then there is a QR code. So this would be useful if you're going to have students working away from the board and they still need to see that screen. They could use their Chromebooks or probably iPads, any mobile device, and they could use a QR code. You may or may not use this one as much. Okay. And then the drawing feature is just like an interactive whiteboard. So it gives you a white screen. This is where you could write on the board if you wanted to quickly write something. So like that, you can change the color and so forth. And you could put backgrounds and shapes and all that on here as well. The drawing tool at the bottom is pretty much the same function as the whiteboard. You can see that right here. All right. The text button. This is where if you want to write some maybe directions for students, maybe you're in a guided reading group or writing workshop and you've got different groups around the room. So here we go. We've got, group 1, you want directions. Now here's what's great about this one. You might have noticed that there's this +1 at the bottom. When I click that again, another little screen pops up. So I technically could split my screen in half. And let's say I have group 1's instructions here and group 2's directions over on this side and listed there for those students. And then maybe I'm meeting with group 3. So you could have 2 sets of directions on either side. And I could keep that up there, and maybe I'm going to add now some work symbols. So group 2 here, you guys are going to work in silence. And I'm going to click it one more time. And maybe group 1, you guys are allowed to whisper because maybe you're doing a little group work. So this is where you could also put some, different tools as well. So there is also a traffic light. So you notice I'm kind of loading up my screen here. So you can use multiple tools at the same time. Maybe we're meeting in 3 groups, this guided reading group, and I'm going to put the red light on, and that means there is no questions coming to me whatsoever. Green light, maybe, there can be any questions or any disruptions, and yellow is only for, maybe bathroom purposes or so forth. Okay. And again, you could have multiple lights, going on your screen for different groups. And I know some of you are probably looking at that going, oh, that's already getting too cluttered. So you can pick and choose what's going to work for you. So let me go ahead and clear these off. So the last two, we have a timer. So if you tend to, run over with groups, you can have the timer up there, and you don't have to have students say how many more minutes until, group is over or when are we switching. You can put a timer up on the board. And then there are different sounds that could play at the end of each, um, switching time or when the timer runs out. Okay. And then we have the clock. If you need the clock up there for, some reason, maybe your back is always to the clock and you just like to have a clock up on your screen, you can use that. So that's the main function of Classroom Screen. These 3 little tools over here to the side, this bottom one just expands your screen or shrinks it. The middle one will just take away those little widgets so you don't have to see those during the class time. And then this little red and green button is actually going to load up an exit poll. So maybe you want to ask the students a question at the end. Hopefully it's going to pop up here, any second. Here it comes. And then, maybe on the way out of the class, you could have your students, walk by and tap, one of these little faces as to how they're feeling about, their progress that day. And then when they, leave, you can take a look at, the results. So it's like an instant exit poll that you could use. All right, so that is Classroom Screen. I hope you enjoyed this website or found it a little bit interesting, along with any of the others for this week. Have a wonderful weekend. I will see you back on your computer screens bright and early Monday morning for the last round of apps, extensions, and websites for your Appy New Year.